Welcome to the Getting Out of Debt Show. I am your host, Sean Wersbowski, where I interview people that have actually gotten out of debt in hopes of inspiring people that are struggling with money and want to pay out of debt. So hopefully you can learn real strategies from people and most of all, know that it's possible. So the first guest, episode 1, is my good friend Stephon. Stephon paid off how much, Steph?
55,000.
$55,000 by age 26?
20,
That's
27.
awesome. So today we're going to talk about his story, how he did it. Steph, thanks for being here, man.
Hey, man. Anytime, man. Anytime. Anything to help.
So give us the breakdown. What was the $50,000? Was it 50 or 55?
It was 55.
55. So give us the breakdown. What was the 55,000?
Yeah, so the 55 was $30,000 in student loans and 25,000 in car debt.
So
Car loan. Car
35,000 in
loan.
student loans, and then how much? 20,000 in car loans?
No, it's flipped. $30,000 in student loans,
30,
$5,000 in
25.
car. Yeah.
So tell us, how did you get into this debt? Tell me about it.
Oh, yeah, simple. Yeah, man. Very simple. College grad, need a new car. Went and got a new car 5 months after graduating. I said, "Oh, I need a car to go to work." So got a car. Got an email from the school saying, "All right, congratulations on graduating. You owe us $30,000. Well, you owe the federal government $30,000." So I looked at them. I was like, "Okay, so $30,000 in student loan debt and $25,000 in car loan. That's a lot of debt." So that was the start of my journey. I was 22 years old when that was totaled up to 55.
Would you say
Pretty
that
scary time.
would you say you were good with money? Like around that time of your life? Like were you like a crazy spender or?
No, Shaw, you go way back. I was always trying to buy the next best thing, clothes, and I was not good with money, bro. I
So
did
you were a
not
little
know how
bit
to
of a
save.
spender.
Yeah, I was a big spender. I was a splender for sure. I was definitely spending a lot of money on stupid things. So I didn't know how to navigate money. So yeah, but we eventually learned.
So let me
Have a
ask you
little
this.
talk.
So you went to school in state, of course, because
Mm-hmm.
we went to college together. When you went to school, did you know how much you were going to graduate in debt, or were you just kind of on the fly there, like just see what I come
I
out
had a
with?
ballpark. Yeah, so I had an estimation of what I wanted to not go over. I think before I started school, I was like, okay, the average debt's about 30,000. I did the research, about 30,000. I'm like, let's stay around there to stay on average, and then work our way back
Yep.
down once we have
Yep.
a job. I thought, yeah, 30,000. So I came out of college with what was on average $30,000 was the average student loan debt. So at that time it was 30,000. Now I don't know what it is. And I graduated in 2019. So I don't know what it is now. So maybe 40,000. School's expensive, man.
No, it is. It is. So okay, so $30,000 out of school.
Yeah.
Tell me about the car. Like what went into the car purchase? Was it normal to take out a car loan? Is that why you did it, or what led to that?
Yeah, no. You grow up, your parents tell you go to school, get a good job, get a car, go to work, do the whole nine. I came out of school, I thought, I need a car to go to college. I grew up around the city area of DC. So you kind of need a car. Well, you don't need a car. You can take the train to go to work and all that stuff. But I wanted
Still
a
need a
car just
car.
to make it.
Yeah.
Parents give me a car. So obviously, you see a lot of people growing up with car problems on that kind of stuff. You kind of get like a little. You have to take a little bit. So I went and I said, you know what? Let me get a new car, so I don't have to worry about those problems. And just like that, $25,000 in car debt. So my payment was about like what I think at the time it was during COVID time, so my rate wasn't as bad, but my monthly payment was about like $300.
So let me ask you this: You're 22 with $50,000 in debt, but your payment is only 600. A lot of people wouldn't rush to pay that off. Why did you?
To be honest, it's a matter of like not being able to save money, right? So when my paychecks would come in, I'm fresh out of college, I'm not making as much. I'm probably making around $60,000 as an IT specialist, like an IT cybersecurity specialist. I'm making around $60,000 fresh out of college, so I'm not saving as much money. So I'm like, I can't invest because if I invest, it doesn't make sense. I have debt. So it was
Right.
like going backwards. So I was like, I want to start with a clean slate. So I thought, okay, to invest, to have a peace of mind and invest, I need to have no debt. So I said, I'm gonna pay off my debt, and I'm gonna invest and save even more money. And that's eventually what happened. I paid all of my debt in 5 years, and now we're just saving. We're just stacking money.
So let me ask you this. So 22, you made the decision, I'm going to pay
Mm-hmm.
this off. So
Correct.
what did that look like? Was it just making extra on the payment or just lump sums when you got it? How did you actually do it?
Okay, so I chipped at it little by little, right? So casually here and there, 2 grand, 3 grand here and there. Every other month, I'll throw like an extra 1,000 on there. So I was, as I was saving, I was like, okay, if I had like 10 grand saved up, I'd throw like 2 grand on it. If I
Mm-hmm.
had like, if I'll throw a little bit of money on it every time, just make sure it comes down. And eventually, it came down to a point where I was like, okay, I can pay this off finally, right? And so that's what I did. I was doing like lump sum payments instead of like the minimum payment. I was doing lump sum payments, and
What was
eventually
the
it came down to zero
what was
dollars.
the biggest payment you ever made on the loans at one time?
Uh, it it was 10,000. Once I paid my car off, I had like, I want to say I had like 25, 20. I had like 20. No. Hold on, let me see. 14 plus 11. I had like 24,000, 25,000 student loans. I think the math is that. Yeah. So I paid off 10,000 towards the end of one of my student loans, and that was it. That was the final payment, 10,000. I was like, you know what? I think I had like about 12 grand saved up. I just cut the check for 10 grand. Boom, and that's it. Work my way up.
Well, let me ask you this, because a lot of people can't even save 1,000 a month. You were paying off your student loans
Yeah.
and you saved up like $20,000. What were your strategies for saving? I know for a fact one thing you did right is you didn't rush to move out of your parents' house. You stayed home and kept your
Right.
cost of living really low, because for people coming out of college, what's their biggest expense? It's housing costs, and it absolutely
The
decimates their ability to
house.
save, especially on entry level salaries. So, you know,
Exactly.
besides living at home, were there any other strategies you used to save money?
Yeah. I had to cut my expenses down a little bit. I'm a big traveler. I love to travel. Towards the final end of paying off my debt, I cut down traveling a lot because someone that I know very well across the
Mm,
camera from me used to
mm.
tell me, you travel. Do you ever think about the interest that's accumulating on your loans? And that made me think. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think about that. So I was like, you know what? Yeah, let me go ahead and pay this off, and I don't have to worry about interest while I'm in some island or country just enjoying the beach. So yeah, that's what motivated me. Keep my expenses low, and I got my loans to be paid off.
That makes sense. I mean, you said it took you 5 years to pay off the loan. I mean, you're saving at least 1,000 a month just from living at home. So I mean, that's over 5 years,
Yeah.
60 grand. So that paid off
Oh,
your loans pretty much in that. So now I credit you to that. Now let's talk
yeah.
about your career. What field were you
Right.
in, and like what was the salary range you had throughout the time you were paying off your loans?
Yeah, so I am in cybersecurity. I graduated college with a cybersecurity degree. In that field, usually the average salary for that job, that career field, it starts around roughly around. I mean, today it's probably around 80 to 100,000, but at the
Mm-hmm.
time it was around like 50 to 70,000. It was like the average rate for a graduate, a new grad in 2019. But it went up, obviously, as inflation, cost of living going up, and everything. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah. So it was around like seven, six. I started around 65, 60,000, something like that. And my expenses were pretty low at the time, thankfully, and so I was able to chip at it really easily with that salary. It was not a bad salary, 60,000 as a fresh out of college
No,
student at the time. Pretty good.
that's good money. So for all of you listening,
Yeah.
this is the magic formula. Decent income, low expenses equals you can pay off your debt super fast. If you have a low income with high expenses, your debt is going to
Yeah.
be extremely hard to pay off. So, I want to ask you a question and get your take on it. So, In the past 5 years, the stock
Okay.
market is up 100%. If you invested 10 grand 5 years ago, it'd be worth 20.
Mhm.
Knowing that, would you have rather invested the 50,000 and had it grow to 100, or would you have paid off your debt? Knowing what you know now.
Uh, no, knowing what I know now, I would have probably kept paying my debt off, mostly because of this thing called interest.
Mm-hmm.
It was something about just money going to air, and it didn't
Yep.
sit with me right. So I was just like, yeah, if interest didn't exist, maybe then my decision would be different. But like interest was the real difference maker. I think one of my loans were like 7%. So I think each month I was paying like an
7%.
additional yeah, 7% with
Wow.
my one of my loans. It was 7% on the student loans. It was like I think when I saw the breakdown, it was like I was paying an extra $100 in interest, not even the
Just
principal on my
going.
going
And
to
that's what
air.
I,
So I was like, you know what?
and that's what
Yeah,
I tell people. I say, like, look at your payment and look at what's going to interest. That's money you're working hard for every single month. That's going
yeah,
towards nothing. It's going towards air.
exactly. Yeah, that
So
makes you think a little bit.
yeah. So let me ask you this: when you made your final payment, that $10,000 or the $10,000 payment, that was your final payment, right?
Yeah, correct.
How did you feel?
Man, that's a good question. I think I talked to you about this after I paid. I couldn't really figure out the emotions. It was a little bit of sad. It was a bittersweet feeling because usually I just threw $10,000 away. I didn't get it. I didn't get it. I mean, I'm debt free,
You
but
didn't get anything
I,
for it. Yeah.
I didn't do it. I just 10,000. Here you go. Now I'm free. However, that was a $10,000 I could have put somewhere else. Could have bought a house. Could have saved for a house. Could have got something nice. Could have went on vacation. So it was a bittersweet feeling to answer your question. Bitter because you wish you had that money, but sweet because you're now free. The shackles are off. You could literally save all your money now, and that was the best feeling because there's nothing more joyful than not having to pay anybody or not own anybody money, and that's very sweet,
So
very sweet.
after going through this process, how do you would you ever
All right,
finance a car again?
bro, never. My car right now, I love my car. However, I don't want that car. I wouldn't buy that car again. I want a newer car, but I cannot go back in debt. I cannot. So you know what I'm gonna do? I will ride that car until the wheels fall off. 300,000 miles. It's a Honda Civic too, right? So 300,000 miles, 400,000. I'm never getting back in a car debt. It's the dumbest debt ever. If my car broke down today, I'm getting me a new beater, 5,000, 10,000, straight cash. We're
Yes.
not going back in debt, man. It's over.
Yes, girl.
You can
Yes.
and honestly, let me add something to that. Psychologically speaking, I feel like everybody who's paid off their car can say the same thing. It's just something psychological about it. You don't want to go back into debt. You just don't. It's just your brain won't allow you to. So
Most people
that's
who've actually paid off their car and actually
yeah,
experienced what having no car payment is like never go back. The people that always have car
exactly.
payments typically never pay them off and trade them in before their term is up, and they just get a new car payment. It's a never ending cycle. So let me ask you
And
this:
yeah,
kid, there might be someone out there right now, 20, 22 years old, graduating with 60 grand in debt, student loans. What do you say to that person?
60,000. Man, what do I say to that person? I tell them, listen, with discipline and a goal in mind of paying off debt, you can pay that debt off in no time, depending on what your income is. It takes discipline. It's not hard. It's not easy to just make like big payments off. It kind of makes you like, man, I say I work hard for that money. I gotta throw it on some debt. I don't get nothing back, you know. But with discipline, if you have a clear goal in mind, it's possible. It just takes a lot of planning and discipline to pay it off faster. So I'll just tell them, hey man, just be strong minded. Think about the end goal where you don't have to owe anybody anymore, right? You don't have to owe the bank, Aunt Sally, or whatever they're called. You don't have to owe anyone. You're free. So just have some discipline and put your head down and tackle the debt off. You'll be paid. You'll be paid in no time. It'll be paid in no
Hell,
time, depending on how much you make, though.
hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Now I want to
Yeah.
transition quickly. So you spent basically $50,000 paying off that debt. That debt is gone. but now you have the discipline to be able to put away money.
Yeah.
So what has it been like now investing money instead of putting it
Oh
towards debt?
man, let me. This feeling is like, especially when you see where you came from. I came from being $55,000 in a hole.
In the hole.
So
Yeah.
from going from 55,000 in a hole to going back from zero, and now you could actually build wealth or build your portfolio without having a debt. It's an amazing feeling. Every time you get paid, you don't have to look at that sheet, that budget sheet, where you have to look. It's like the expense sheet is only like, oh, rent, phone bill, and car insurance. That's it. That's it. It's not a long list anymore. So it's a great feeling. You feel
I
like you're
love it.
ahead of you're ahead of the curve, and it's just like, I wish everybody could feel that. But some people, it may be harder than some to get rid of that, but it's a great feeling.
I love it, dude. I love it. Well, I appreciate your time. I think this story is going to help a lot of people because a lot of people really don't know people who've paid off debt because the ones who have paid it off are typically not vocal about it because people typically look down upon them. They're like, okay, you're bragging about paying off debt. Good for you. We can't pay it off. But a lot of people do make the decision to pay it off.
Yeah.
And a lot of people got to know that it is possible. So, yep, Stephon, 30,000 in student loans, 25,000 on the car, paid it off in 5 years. Way to go, man. Thanks for being
Yeah.
on the show. And most of all, for being episode number 1.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Ski.
All right, well, more stories to come. This is the first one. Tune in for the next one.
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.